Holy shit.
Look at that.
This is crazy. What we're looking at, folks, the people who are just listening in, you have to go to the YouTube now because this is insanity. This is as close, for a dummy like me to look at something like that and then go, oh, that's definitely a river. A river carved that.
Okay, what you're looking at there is a gigantic extinct set of cataracts, like you would find at Niagara Falls, but to use Graham's term, writ large. We're looking at a ridge. We're looking east. The tsunami wave that swept down over these 4 states, one branch of it swept off to the west. This particular branch of it was 400 feet deep when it hit this ridge. And what it did was it spilled over the ridge, and down here in the foreground you see the modern-day Columbia River. From the top of the ridge where you see the agriculture and the landscape down to the rivers, about 1,000 feet. Get to see as the drone is about to take off, you're seeing the landscape. We're looking to the east in the direction of those Finger Lakes. And I guess the soundtrack.
Is it not playing in the sound?
No. Oh, there we go.
You want to hear it?
A little toccata and fugue in D minor.
Ooh.
Okay, and the landscape opens up. So you're on that rock blade.
We're on the rock blade right there. So now you can begin to see the scale of this thing that we were just seeing from Google Earth.
Well, now when you describe it, I mean, I would have just looked at it. Whoa.
Okay.
Holy shit.
This is one of the early NASA photographs taken from 500 miles up, back in the late 70s, actually. And what we got here is the 2 big scabland tracts that show 2 of the big meltwater streams that have left their scars in the landscape. So each one of those.
Okay, so that to me, I'm looking at this after what you've told me. That looks like water that is sort of like receded and left these lines in this hillside.
Exactly. Think of a bathtub rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After it showed you.
Whoa. Now that you know,
Dry falls.
It's crazy. It looks like something just like you had a sandcastle or some flat sand set up, and a wave came in and cut through it and then pulled back.
The wave came for scale. In the upper left hand, I've superimposed Niagara Falls at the same scale, with Niagara Falls superimposed for scale. The Horseshoe Falls, the Canadian Falls, superimposed for scale. Now, basically, that cataract at Horseshoe Falls is about 120 feet in height. The cliff wall of this giant cataract is about 400 feet high. And then there's the stuff that you're looking at. Now, the bigger stuff there is 30 and 40 feet. Those would be like 4-story buildings down there.
So those are just washed away by this gigantic river.
That's just this massive, gigantic river moving 50, 60 miles an hour, sweeps through there, plucks and tears the bedrock, and then when the spigots finally get turned off, the water starts subsiding, and this stuff that's being carried in there just gets left in the wake, just like you're going to see.
What's this?
This is Valles Calderas. This is the largest volcanic caldera in North America.
Oh.
It's 11 miles across, and here's it was born out of a catastrophe millions of years ago, right? And then subsequent eruptions over hundreds of thousands of years have left this feature. But what's interesting to us here is what happened around 12,000 years ago. The entire caldera filled up suddenly, and if you look at it as a clock, at about 8 o'clock, you can see a breach, a valley coming off. Mm-hmm. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Jamie, can you? Yeah, right there is thousands of these gigantic rolled boulders. And you know that they're water transported because they're round, they're rolled. That's what water does. It rolls these things. Now, this is in New Mexico, see? So this is related to the spillway, the overflow of Valles Caldera, which has been dated to that beautiful example of scale and variance.
Oh, wow.
Here we have the modern Snake River flowing in the modern channel, and then we have the ancient flood channel. And which you can see there, the average annual discharge of the Snake, 56,900 cubic feet. But the estimated flood that created the big channel is 40 million cubic feet. This is the sediment load being carried in the flood.
Wow.
So you got what kind of powerful currents are necessary to transport? And I'm standing in the canyon that was cut by the flood.
guy.
Those walls are formed. Now this, we're going to travel
Whoa.
about 500 miles south out onto the Utah canyon
God, that's
lands.
beautiful.
And what you're seeing there is basically dry cataracts. Now that you've seen these cataracts, you can begin to recognize them all over the place.
Sure, let's roll.
Now, okay, 1,039. And this is here now. You'll be able to see actually a person in the field of view next to a giant current ripple, and there's a giant. That's a giant current ripple field. We did see this one, Graham. This is the West Bar. There it is.
Whoa.
And there's an airport down. The lighter colored buff stuff is a landing strip, and the airport building there is 3 stories tall. So this whole feature is 3 miles long, and the ripples here are on the same scale as the Camas Prairie ripples, 1042, and this is basically another key piece of evidence. Is strewn for thousands of square miles throughout the path of the flood. You have these gigantic boulders. Okay, let's go to the next image. There we go. This is like out in the middle of the prairie. Again, you got thousands of these things.
I'll tell you what, I'm a chicken. I wouldn't stand right there. I don't think that thing's going to roll on top of you. That would be a wrap,
The
son.
next image, we have the Hancock erratic.
Is that you up there?
Well, that's me on top of that,
Breaking the law,
18,000-ton
breaking the law.
boulder.
Weren't you breaking the law?
Yeah, I was. I do that from time to time. But
And you'll see, there we go. I'm down inside the pothole, one of the potholes, looking up at Graham.
So that's a pothole carved into stone by whirlpools.
By this.